Andy Dunn, who would have thought? Mesut Ozil applauded off, a standing ovation at the Emirates. Have we seen a change in his attitude over the last few weeks?
No, I think we've seen a change in his form. I personally, I've never questioned his attitude. I know a lot of people have. I just think when he's playing poorly, when he's out of form, when maybe his confidence isn't high, when maybe Arsenal aren't playing well, it doesn't look great. His manner doesn't look great. But I don't think he ever doesn't put in what you would call a shift. I just think his form is better. And he really, really enjoys playing in the system of Ozil, Sanchez and Lacazette. He loves that three. And you can see the three. You can see it makes such a difference when the interaction between the three, the exchange of movements. And he's got options. You know, to my mind, it's either him or David Silva are the best passers of a ball, the best spotters of a pass in the Premier League. They can see, you know, where others can't. You know, they can see behind, you know, down avenues, behind closed doors. They can see them. Now he's got those options, and I just think he's really enjoying his football at the moment. He looked to be enjoying it with Germany when he played for them in the friendlies, and he's just enjoying it, and he's a class player.
I think he was singled out unfairly by a lot of pundits. When Arsenal weren't playing well, he was the one to blame. But we all knew what Mesut Ozil was when he came over. He's a craftsman. He's a technician. I think he's got more assists than anybody since he's come to the Premier League. You know that he's not going to, you know, sometimes do the shift going back the way. But I thought he took a lot of unfair criticism, and I was really pleased for him yesterday. And there's no doubt that Arsenal are a more potent attacking force when he is in the team.
Would cynics not suggest maybe it's a case of final year of contract, I'm going to up my game a little bit here? Is there a little bit of that in it?
I think that's, you know, that's unfair. I mean, I don't know what you're suggesting there in terms of he's going to get the club.
I'm just being cynical, Chris. He'll get a club anyway.
He's going to get a big club. So you could argue the other way. Well, you know, he could actually down tools and just wait for his move at the end of the season. But I thought his performance was absolutely outstanding.
You must have played with some players like that. You can't read too much into body language. Everybody's different. There's been players from time immemorial.
But we knew the player he was when he came over here, and that's where you know, I think when things were going wrong at Arsenal, people just picked on Ozil, and you know, there were 10 other players in the team.
He is an individual. He is an individual in the sense that within the club, you know, I think he does. He's clearly a confident boy. Let's put it that way. I think that's so that can come across. I'll give you a small example of when the Arsenal players come out onto the pitch for the second half. They put some cones out, like mini cones, and the players have to run through them. You know what I mean? They have to sort of like quickly go through them. They all go there. Ozil just walks past. You know, he just walks past. And the thing is that I think he rates himself as a world-class talent. I think sometimes that doesn't come across too well.
I think he lost a bit of confidence, didn't he? But you know, he was taking one hell of a bashing. So that was good to see him back. In the form he was yesterday.
Is it amazing, though, that we're at this situation now where they haven't tied down the futures of Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil?
Well, what Guy said about, you know, what the cynics might say, what the realists will say is that you look at a performance like that yesterday, which is why for Arsenal fans, well, I mean, it'll be nothing but sweet, but in the end it will be bittersweet, because to see them play like that is just a reminder to anyone who doubted it that both of these players will be able to walk into a big club. Even a bigger club, maybe, at the end of the season. Would Manchester United take Mesut Ozil on a free? I'm absolutely certain they would. Would Manchester City take Alexis Sanchez on a free? I'm certain they would. And, I mean, how bitter must you be then if you're an Arsenal fan, knowing that this scenario could happen?
Yeah. Well, this is Arsene Wenger. Actually says, I am convinced that they love the club, that they love the team, but all the rest will be decided when. I don't really know. I believe they love the club and want to stay. But there are other top clubs who can offer them good contracts as well. So clearly,
well, they don't love the club that much.
Well, exactly. Money talks. No, I mean, clearly he knows that there will be people who can offer better deals, and that will be under threat.
I think the truth is at Arsenal now is they will be at their stages in their careers. They'll be wanting to win things, and they would think that they have a better opportunity elsewhere. I'm not one who thinks it's for the money, the wages. They get paid enough.
Yeah, I mean. I read in your column, Andy, you were talking
Chris
about...
would like to think that. That's what he's saying. In this utopian world...
You know what I'm getting.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. The when is enough.
Yeah.
But having said that, don't forget, you've got the agents also. You know...
Well, they go to China then, wouldn't they?
Well, no, there's a balance, isn't there? I mean, if you're going to go to a club, say, for example, Manchester City. I mean, you know, listen, I actually really hope that they stay at Arsenal, you know, because I think they are a good fit with the club. I see what Wenger says. I think they do like it there, and I think it's a great club. But take Manchester City, then they will be able to offer him significantly more.
Well,
and
the
with
best of both worlds.
And a significantly better chance of winning.
But you say that it would get a top club, and let's take Alexis Sanchez out of it. But Mesut Ozil, you know, would Jose Mourinho take him at Manchester United? Would Pep Guardiola take him at City? Are we talking across Europe? You know, would he go to an equally good club or a better club?
A better club,
Would he?
Absolutely, yeah. He is
Jose
a top
Mourinho would sign Mesut Ozil?
You could get him for nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a top player, and I think he has proven that. He is a player who has frustrated many people over there because they perceive his work rate or lack of work rate as a weakness. But when you look at the other side, the flip side, which people should be focusing on, his talent and his assists, he's up there with anybody.
And the what I was saying about your column, you were talking about as a trio, Lacazette, Sanchez and Ozil are up there with the best in the Premier League.
I mean, I thought it was unfathomable that Wenger didn't play all three from the start against Manchester City. I know, when I say unfathomable, I know why he did it, because he'd done it before at City and actually got a good result there. But when I saw them for the first time, they only played together for the first time at Goodison Park when they won 5-2. They were excellent. And they played again at home, won that game, and obviously won yesterday. I think it's only 3 times they played together. They just look, you know, it's what... When you sort of look at City and the sort of tracking trio, you know, up front for those, and at United yesterday, you look at Rashford, Martial, and Lukaku, who obviously don't play together much. But then you looked at it yesterday and you thought, you know what, this is the way forward, and it's the way forward for Arsenal. And I have to say, I'm surprised he didn't play them at City. I don't think he'll do that again. As long as they're fit, they will be the front three for Arsenal now, as long as they're available.
I mean, on the flip side, Guy, this is a significant defeat for Tottenham, as everyone was talking about if Arsenal were to lose it, how toxic that would have been. But the significance of that for Pochettino?
I think there were mitigating circumstances. Quite clearly, Harry Kane and Dele Alli weren't 100% fit, so that there's something to consider.
Well, let me interrupt you on that. What does that say then, that he wouldn't go with Son and Llorente?
Not in the biggest game, clearly not.
So he doesn't trust them?
Well, I think that's a really good point. That Llorente... Chelsea wanted him, Llorente, and Tottenham got the nod. And then we thought, you know, I think I said at the time, well, that's a good piece of business. But clearly, Pochettino, you know, to play an 80% or whatever you want to say, Harry Kane over Llorente is a slap in the face to Llorente.
They headhunted
just says
Llorente.
he doesn't have the trust.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Doesn't trust him clearly, for the big games or just in general. You know, I mean, Son's been magnificent.
He hasn't started a Premier League game yet for them, actually, Llorente. He's not started one. You would think maybe in some of the so-called lesser games he might have had an opportunity.
But what does that say then? That, you know, is it the wage structure that's hampering them again? Are we going back to that? Because they headhunted Llorente. They wanted him.
Yes, they wanted him. They got him. No, I think it just says that in that game in particular, it says a lot about Harry Kane.
I think it says more about him.
It's how much he trusts Harry Kane and how much he knows now at the moment Harry Kane can get you a goal out of very little. I mean, Harry Kane is a different striker to Llorente. He certainly, you know, Harry Kane's more of a sort of shoot-on-sight guy and, you know, gets his shots away very quickly, and I think he just wants that. I don't think he realised, well, he probably did once the game started, that Harry Kane wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Dele Alli, by the way. I think Dele Alli might have just had a bad game.
And in terms of stats, Chris, we look at the fellow Big Five teams around Tottenham. In 17 games, they've won away from home under Pochettino just once at those Big Five clubs.
Honestly, I couldn't believe that stat when I heard
Amazing,
it. That didn't really register. And it must be a worry. You know, clearly the stat is correct, but it surprised me. You know, I think that Tottenham are a good outfit and done exceptionally well the last couple of seasons, but they have to write that. They have to find a way of writing that.
I didn't see the whole game yesterday. I only saw the highlights, but I think it also tells you how big a miss Toby Alderweireld will be for them.
Yeah.
We talk about Ali and Kane, but there's the big miss at the back. He has been their best defender now for 2 years.
And I thought Eric Dyer struggled. That start is incredible. When I was going through the games during the game, and
you were the best British columnist at the Emirates.
Right, yeah. So, and I thought to myself, well, you know, that really is a damning statistic. I mean, what I would say is that it's not... Some of the managers as well, Jose Mourinho, for example, has not got a good record against the other top 5 teams. You know, you can actually sort of, you know, as long as you're destructive in your other games, you can get away with it. But we asked Pochettino about it, and he was sort of unaware of it until we brought it up. But I do think, you know, I just think yesterday, that they were half a yard off it. You know, Arsenal, unusually, they were caught by surprise that Arsenal press very high and very fast.
Ali's a worry for me. And
I
I know how well he performed against Madrid. And, you know, I take that. But this season, he hasn't shown the consistency and the level which he was at last season. You know, he's been off it. And that's where, you know, we can talk about Kane. But, you know, I think Ali's the one who would be the real worry for me. He needs to start hitting the heights of last season.
Yeah. Well, let's move on and talk about West Brom, shall we? Because no win